You know, today is a National Signing Day, and it's usually a day full of drama. But just because of the early signing period, you know, we only had to wait on 2 faxes to come through the machine today. But where we were very fortunate, our staff did a great job. And, you know, during the early signing period in December, where we signed 24 guys, and we were able to fill a bunch of needs that after losing a group of seniors that we lost last year, and then coming back with the going out recruiting and just making sure that we target the right guys. Because at the end of the day, it's all about character. It's all about the fit for your program. And you got to find those guys that just fit your program. You know, a lot of them have a lot of athletic ability, but sometimes that fit isn't there for your program. But when you have a staff and the staff knows what everyone is looking for, and even at every position, you know, a lot of times we do positional recruiting where we have guys that go out and then, you know, if a guy feel like, you know, Sean may say, I like this running back. And there's a coach who's recruiting that running back, and he's got to stand on the coach. If that coach really think that running back is good enough, he's got to stand on the table for that running back, whereas Sean may not think he's good enough. And I'm just using that as an example. But guys understand what guys are looking for. And it comes down to character, athletic ability, guys that have good size, guys that has good speed. And we have a lot of that within this class. But we're really happy with the class that we signed. I think Jiggs does a great job in our recruiting office, and he told me that, you know, coming across ESPN, someone was talking about, hey, if South Florida had not had those early signings, then they'll be struggling right now trying to fill their class, because the guys would have came in and taken some of the guys that are really good players that we got. But like I said, we're really happy about what we got, really comfortable. And the only thing we're looking to do is continue to build a program and move the program forward. And when you get good players in the program with good grades and they understand what you're trying to do and the vision that we have in place for them, then the things are happening and you'll be able to move forward.
Charlie, did you like the early signing period? I mean, you kind of suspense out of today. Do you think that's here to stay, and is that something that you enjoy this year?
You know, someone gave me a number. I think that last year in the month of January, I think 172 guys decommitted. And then this year was like 26. So I kind of like the early signing period, especially for us, because we're able to get some really good players. And so you don't have to go into January worrying about, okay, you know, where's this guy visiting? You know, what happened on the visit? Then you have to go back out. You know, what I did, what really helped is in January, the last 3 weeks, I went out recruiting, and I went to like over 100 high schools. I started in Atlanta. So I left Atlanta. I did 2 days there in Atlanta, did the city, did up Gwinnett County, and DeKalb and all those counties. Then I so I went from Pensacola, you know, one day, then I hit Tallahassee the next day, then I hit Jacksonville, came back in on the weekend, kind of got energized back up. Then I went Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, the West Coast to Central Florida, got energized back up, and then came in, did the city here, did 2 days here in Tampa with the Polk County, then went up, you know, Wesley Chapel up to Gainesville. So, I mean, I was in a lot of schools, and I told the coaches that, you know what, guys, y'all better take your snack, because we're not stopping for lunch now. We got to get as many schools we can get in. We can get 8 to 9 to 10. That's great. But it was more of going in and shaking hands and just making sure that we just put our name in that school. And a lot of it helps when you walk into school and you know, the coaches are happy. You take pictures. You know, I couldn't take them with the recruits, but you know, there was the principal there, just some of the administrators. But it was really good. It was really good for our program.
Charlie, can you just speak to the overall depth of this class? It's pretty much 3-star players across the board.
Oh, it really is, and you're going to win with the type of players that we wouldn't get. You know, just looking at the sheet here, we had 6 guys that early enrolled. You know, with Boyles, with Greer, with Kirby, Norris, Rowland, and then our punter with Trent. But it was kind of heavy up, and I always look at linemen, because that's where you got to build your program. And we were able to get us some really good offensive linemen, and really got some really good defensive linemen. But you're always looking for those big guys, and you know, Johnny Ford, you know, he's not very big, but you look at what he did down in Dade County, one of the best players in that county. And then you look at, you know, Cherry's another one out of Okeechobee. He's not very big, but, you know, those guys can do something for our team, and they always everyone, and when you look at with the recruits that we signed, they're all going to be able to come in and help us somewhere.
You mentioned the defensive line when they're rounding out the class with Waller and with Barber. How nice was that to finish, kind of put the exclamation point on today?
You always want to fit, and like I said, with Big Waller coming in, it's really going to help. And then Barber out of Venice with them winning with state championships. So it's always good when you get guys from winning programs. So that really helps also. But you want to finish it the right way. You know, you look at Yates is a big lineman down there out of Port St. Lucie that is very talented and has a lot of ability. But we were just making sure that. And I always tell our guys, you know, big guys beat up little guys, and I want big guys, and we're going to find those little ones.
Charlie, you look at the list here, just about every one of your recruits is from the state of Florida. Given the fact that Florida, year in and year out, puts out more D1 athletes than any state in the country, does it make your job somewhat a little bit easier, even though the competition's stiff here, is that you've got just a hotbed in the state you can kind of focus here?
And you know it was great, and when you look at just the state, we know this. We can get to those places. You know, we were, you know, even with me, I've had to jump on a plane to fly somewhere, but it's so much easier for our coaches to get there, and then you develop that relationship because they can get to campus and they can drive here, and they can you can start building that relationship early. So then when you get to the signing day, now you've built that relationship, so now those guys know exactly who you are. It's hard out of state because they can't get to you. And so now you probably get 1 or 2 visits out of it, where with some of these guys, they came up here 3 or 4 times. So we were able to develop that relationship, and they knew who we were, and we knew exactly who we were, able to meet their families. They were able to meet, you know, all the coaching staff. But just being in the state with you look at the players within the state, and the coaches do a great job here. But it's amazing the talent that is in the state that you're able to pull from. And you look at the 3 universities, the big 3, then you look at everyone else, but you still got enough talent where guys can fill a roster.
It's important for you to keep these kids home, because in the past, you know, a lot of them would have to leave if they didn't have the opportunity.
Well, you want to do your best to keep them home, and you got to go out and you have to beat some folks, and I mean some schools that come in here and try to take them from us, and you just got to be able to sell what you have. And I told our coaches, I said, you know, sometimes we don't have what a lot of other schools have. So we got to be great salesmen, and you got to somehow sell them on something. But it is tough sometimes when you lose a player out of state. You kind of get upset about it. And I always say sometimes, you know, I tell those players, a lot of schools you're going to, I love to play them. Just ask them to put us on their schedule, but you know they won't do that. But I said, okay, that's fine, you're going there, but they won't play us. And I wish they would.
Was it a little easier to sleep last night coming into today, knowing you already had 24 players in the bank?
Oh, it was, because like I said, the drama, you sitting there last night, you're just hoping you get, usually in the past, you get that phone call, well, Coach, you know, I decided I'm going to go here. And anytime they say, well, Coach, you know, I really love your staff, I really love you, then you knew what was coming next. I think I'm going to go somewhere else. But it's so much easier because, like I said, you were able to get the ones in December. But December was really a good push for us because what we did was, you know, there were some guys that kind of wanted to wait, and you're sitting there and say, hey, listen, if you wait, and I've seen this happen to a lot of guys, like they waited, and some of them, you know, they decommitted from another place, and they were still waiting to see if somebody was going to pick them up. And it was tough on some of those players because I said, you know what, a lot of places are filled up already, so you can end up going somewhere where you didn't really want to go.
Is there a certain guy that you look at, maybe even from the early period, or you know, the 2 guys you got today, that you think could be an early impact guy, maybe someone that could contribute right away next year?
Well, you know what, and it's really hard to say because if you look at it, like you look at a guy like Horn who has the 9th best, you know, 9th fastest 100 meters time in the country, and Johnny Ford, you really don't know how they're going to contribute till you get them on campus, and then you get them around the guys that we already have around our team, and then they start growing and developing. You know, like Greer's here right now. I think Greer's put on like 12 pounds since he's been here. But it's going to be interesting to see because a lot of times in high school, and it's not like they come from poor high school programs and the coaches don't do a good job. Coaches do a great job with them. But a lot of them don't eat. You know, a lot of them don't. It's just a diet. It's the things that the way they carry themselves. They're not working out as much. And then when they get in the program, they start building themselves up. and you know, getting bigger, stronger, faster.
Charlie, the two quarterbacks you have in December,
Battle.
I know it's still a while off, but when you look at the fall, how much are those two in play to come in and be competing for a starting job right away?
Well, right now we have the 4 that we have here on campus, and so now we're adding 2 more, gives us 6, and they're going to get a chance to come in and compete. You know, look at us the last 3 years in the Q. I mean, we're very fortunate with the numbers, and and you look at it, when you think about a quarterback, Q never got hurt, so you never had a chance to really give a chance to the other 2 the backups, but they'll get a chance with Battle McLeod to come in and compete and just see where they are.
You know, a guy who was already here but said he was going to transfer and decided not to, Craig Watts. What was the conversation you had with him to kind of get him to recommit to the program?
Well, Watts, he came in to see me and said, you know, Coach, I'm thinking about transferring. And I said, okay, so where would you like to go? And he said a few places. I said, okay, here's what you do. You go see those places and then come back and see me. So he went to see him, and he came back, and he said, Coach, I think I'm making a mistake. I said, well, that's why I wanted you to go see him first to see if it's really what you wanted to do. And I said, the thing about it, Greg, you're a redshirt freshman. You put your time in here already. I said, you don't know how good you can be. You don't know what's going to happen for you. So the only thing you need to do is just go to work and don't worry about anything else. You get back in the program, let's get to work, and let's move on down the road.
Yeah, in the spring and fall practice, he was kind of a hybrid corner and safety. Spot ones, he can kind of float between the 2 during spring.
Well, we just got to get him in a place and just leave him there, because we did move him around some because he could play some corner. And when you're talented and you can do those things, you can play corner, you can play nickel, you can play safety, and we just got to find a spot for him and just put him in that spot.
Charlie, your depth at linebacker, you mentioned you were putting on weight. You got 2 in the class listed as linebackers. Are there other guys that could be linebackers for you?
Well, once we get into spring practice, there's going to be some guys that we move around, because it is a linebacker's an issue, because you lose a guy like Augie, who had an unbelievable career here. But it's just we got to find that backer. And there's some guys in the program yet that have, they got to step up. I take a guy like Jimmy Bays. You won't find a better looking player than Jimmy Bays, but Jimmy's got to step up. And now that we've lost some guys, it's always look at it like this: when you lose players in your program, then it's an opportunity for the next guy, and that's what they have to look at. Now it's my opportunity. And you know what? It's all about just passing that torch forward. Now it's my time, and I got a chance to go and compete for the starting position.
You mentioned just kind of the absence of drama compared to most things. Were there other kids beyond these 2 that were in play that you were at least hopeful going to bed might be part of the class?
No, because we had, I think the last few weeks it kind of thinned it out for us, and then we kind of knew exactly who we had and what because. Guys that did sign in early, that signed with us early in December, we brought them in on a recruiting weekend. So you brought all those guys in, and then you brought Waller and the rest of them in on another weekend. But no, we kind of had an idea that, making sure we were going to get these 2. So these 2 guys, just make sure they sign. So guys keep calling them, make sure we're on point.
Do you still have some wiggle room for spring grad transfers, anyone that may come in late?
Yeah, I think I'm sitting there maybe with 1 or 2, so we'll see how that goes, and then just see after the end of spring practice where we need to take our attention to, where we need to focus on.
Really, with Waller being a local kid, this is the first time you can really talk about him. What stood out to you about him and how he might be able to help you out?
Well, you look at it, he's a big guy that can move, and he has some quickness to him, and he's one of those guys. If you watch his highlight tape on defense, it's like he just wreaked havoc, and a lot of times they didn't even block him. So you're just hoping that he can come in and be that that staple in the middle that we need, because as looking as you look at Kegler, you look at Pinckney, you look at Bronson. And so you're looking right there. I think we had like 4 linemen that this morning that was in that group of guys. So we gotta have some. And those young guys are going to come in, so they're going to get that chance.
Charlie, you had mentioned linebackers is an area you could make some adjustments on. But out of the recruits here, are there many on here that you have kind of recruited with the vision of playing different spots?
Well, anytime you look at big, like just said, big skill, you always feel like with a big skill, like you can move him to another spot. And so you're going to look at their growth once you get them in here and just watch how they grow and see if you can move them. And the thing you have to do, anytime you're talking about moving, if you recruit a player at one position and then you talk about moving him, you got to make sure that he's comfortable with it, because there's going to be some conversations. Well, Coach, I thought I was this. Well, you're not that. I think where you can really help us if you go here. And guys that are in the program, they see it. So they can move easy because they already can see what is happening with them. Like, you know what, I'm standing in line over here, but I can go here and go play. We're playing last season, and Saltez goes, not Augie didn't go down. Saltel goes down, so he comes. So McGee comes to him and he says, "Hey, Coach, I want to play linebacker." And I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah, I'm as big as Saltel." So I said, "Okay, then, we'll put you there." And so he ended up playing like our nickel back, our dime package. He was the backer because I took Abraham and put him in the box. And he made some plays. So a lot of times those guys are seeing where they lined up, then they can they'll adjust, and then they'll come to you and say, "Hey, can I go move to this position?" And I say, "Oh yeah, if you think you can help us, you most definitely can."
You like to have those conversations with the recruits prior to them coming or committing?
No, I don't, because then they may change their mind, because they may say, "Coach is thinking about moving me." So I kind of wait and have that conversation once they get here, and you kind of know, and they kind of know, because a lot of them, they get into the program, like I said, they start gaining weight and they start, they're a little step slower than what they thought they were, and then all of a sudden they start looking around and they want to play. One thing about a freshman is they all want to play. So however they can get on the field. If they can get on the field, "Hey, Coach, you know what?" And sometimes you say, "Hey, listen, you play this position, I'll move you back to your old position next year." Then you're hoping they could continue to grow. They don't ever get back to that position. But no, you don't have, you say that, having that conversation with them afterwards.
Is the quality and even quantity of linemen the first thing you look at when you're looking at how good a class is? That first thing catches your eye? Oh,
without a doubt, because you always want to. Because I mean, if you look at it, if you look at the D lineman, you look at Barber, you look at Trey Lane. I mean, you look at Laycock. He is strong as a house. I went to see him the other day. He's in the weight room lifting. I think he's broke all kind of records. And he says, "Coach, I got to go. I got one more record to go for." I says, "Listen, son, I mean, that's good, but we don't need you lifting all this weight. I want to know if you can play football." But no, he's a good football player. But you look at him, you look at Waller, you look at Yates and Armand Williams. I mean, that's a really good group of linemen there for you when you look at it. And then you look on the offensive side, because when you think about Brad Cecil, you look at Sebastian. I was down there, and it's see his body change from the visit to now was amazing. I mean, and he's so wide. Like, you look at him, you're thinking, "Man, this guy, he's like he's 6 foot, but he's taller than 6 foot, but because he's just so wide." But just to see those Ethan Watson and those offensive linemen, because we're going to need there's two positions. I mean, with needs, when I talk about position on the offensive side with the O-line and on the defensive side with the D-line, there is a need for us. And you always want to build, because I think if you build your linemen, then everything. If you look at the really good teams, they always have a really good set. When I walk on fields and we play games, I look at their linemen first and say, "Hey, okay, whether we got a chance or not."
Shaw, you mentioned with Sebastian, you guys lifted 6'2", 356 on there. Is there a number you'd like him to be down to?
Well, on his visit, he was 6'2", 355, and I think when I was at the school the other day, he told me he was 340. So with those guys, and they're going to cut some weight, because once we get them in there, we get them in our strength and conditioning program with Coach Moore, Coach Roberts, and then they have never ran the way they're going to run. And they're never, like I said, eating the way. So it's going to be that some of that weight's going to drop, because the heat will get it off of them.
Outside of quarterback, what position are you most excited about to see position battle during spring and fall practice?
With the spring and the running back position, because you lose Tice and Dearness, so that's going to be a position that is going to be a really interesting battle, because now you go Cronkite. I mean, you have some guys there. We're going to get a chance now to see what Cronkite can do for us. But Another battle for us is always you got to find you some linebackers. So out of that group of guys, who's going to be the guy who elevates this game and who steps it up for you there?
Coach BJ said last year, on travel roster, you'd like to have 7, 8, 9 linebackers.
Well,
Are you nearing that yet?
Well, I better get jigs and recruit him some more. I don't know if you can get to 9, but I think you can get to at least 7. But see, the thing about the linebacker position, that's a big skill position. You need those guys for special teams. And it really, when you're good in special teams, you're going to have those type of players running down. They're good on kickoff return. They're good in open field because they can run and go block somebody. And so you got to find the tight end position and the linebacker position is where we got to find some guys because that's where we hurt. Because you just don't have that big skill, those big guys that can do those things for you. If they're not playing, then they have to be able to help you on special teams.
Was it a bit of a shock when Kano told you he was going to be transferring?
No, you know what happens now when it scares you because when guys graduate now, that can always become an issue for you. Because, you look at it as last year, you had a number of players that had graduated. So you're sitting there like, oh, man, he can walk in here any day and say, like Abraham's dad is in Illinois. He never would have done it, but, he could have walked in and say, Coach, I'm going to go play for my dad. Yeah. And there's Bruce Hector. He had graduated. So you had a number of players that had graduated, seniors. So so now with the way the rule is, some guys feel like that. And if they feel like it's better for them somewhere else, then, it's good luck to you, and I hope things work out well for you.
Did you guys give them a list of schools you just can't transfer to?
Well, you hate to stop someone from doing what they, because, if they really want to go there, then, just move out of the way and let it happen for them.
Do you think there should be a waiting period for college players that want to transfer?
I think if they have been in the program, then I think there should be a waiting period because they know now they're in the program. There's no coaching change. They're there. They have really established themselves. So yes, it should be a waiting period because what happens when you guys start transferring out of your program, it starts hurting your program because you didn't expect that. So now if you didn't replace that position during recruiting, now you're behind. And so now they can just pick up and go somewhere else. But and a lot of times, players leave because, they're unhappy. And they say, I want to go somewhere and go play. Okay, that's fine. But if you let someone know early enough, then it's, okay, good luck to you, and I hope things work out for you.
What about if there's a coaching change? Would you be okay for letting guys transfer if a coach leaves the school?
Well,
What happened?
right. You know what happens now with coaching changes, a lot of players follow coaches. And that's why and so if a young man, have come a long ways and he came there just for that coach, and then all of a sudden that coach leave, and then there's a new coach that comes in that, there's they can't ever get on the same page, and there's not enough conversations then because you built a relationship with the one coach and his staff, and now they pick up and leave. Now I think that a lot of times you see really good players, their career don't turn out. And a lot of times you go back to, was there a coaching change or what happened to this young man? Because he's a good football player, he's a good person, and things just didn't work out for him. So if that happens, then, players should be given an opportunity to, go elsewhere.
What you mentioned earlier with Craig Watts, he thought he wasn't going to leave, and after looking around, that wasn't the case. These day and times, are kids more apt to think they want to leave at the first sign of adversity? Is that just a thing you have to deal with these days, and a lot more than 20 years ago or whatever?
It is. And I tell you, like right now, the big issue is across the state because now they have this open transfer policy across the state. So a player can play at one high school. I mean, let's take like a player is at Plant High School. And now he can go transfer somewhere else and go play basketball and come right back to the school and play football. So really, what we are not doing is holding the players accountable. And I think you have to do it because at the first sign of adversity, they're going to run. And because now, I did it in high school, so I can do it now. And I just think in high school, I think we need to change that rule. And because I think not only does it hurt the high schools and the coaches, but I think it hurts the young man because now anytime something goes wrong, now you want to jump up and leave. No, this is the school that you pick this school, the school you schedule, stay there. And you just got to learn how to fight through adversity and work through it. But at the first sign, something happens. So now when he gets to college, same thing happens. Well, I don't like my coach, or they told me that I was going to play and I'm not playing. So I want to go transfer now. No, it doesn't happen like that. And then that's why I just think that rule in high school, it does. It shocks me. And even for the coaches, it's tough for them, for the high school coaches, because they're sitting there like, but here's a school that's sitting there, and then all of a sudden they get 10 new players in. I mean, so now it's not fair to, 4 of those guys may have came from a different school. It's not fair to that school that he lost his 4 best football player to another school because he felt like if I go to this school over here, I'm gonna get recruited, or I know the coaches over there and they're gonna do this. And I just think it hurts. It really does. It hurts high school athletics when that happens.
You mentioned all the quarterbacks that you brought in this class, or at least 2 you brought in here. You might have on the roster. Is there somebody right now that you think has a leg up in the competition, or is that something that you'll let play out?
We'll let it play out because we just haven't seen enough of it. You look at Oladoke, you look at Brett, 2 guys that have been in the program. But it's just that, Q really helped it because he never was injured. So you never had a chance to say, okay, this guy is going to get a chance to start this game. So I think that during the spring, there'd be a lot of battles and you'll get a chance to see, because you still got Trina and Dean who are good walk-ons that can really help us too. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, just watch how that factors in, because we're going to have to we're going to have to do a lot of things on offense where we help the quarterback and just make sure that we can protect him and give him a chance to be successful.
You have the 2 transfers from Duke, Marquise Bryce and Brandon Boyce. What did you see last year from them as the scout team that can help your team now that they're able to play?
Well, the thing they did is every day they came to practice and they worked hard, just like Cronkite. Usually when you get guys from larger programs or some, they come into your program, now a lot of them, they want to take days off. They want to feel like, well, I don't feel like practicing. But it never happened. Cronkite, here he was a starter at University of Florida. Now he's here, and every day he came out there and he practiced hard. So I think when our players saw that, then, that made them say, okay, now if he's coming in here, then he's working the way he does. Same thing happened with those 2 guys.
And with the kicker, you got Marco. Is he the only guy right now that he's the guy?
Marco Polo, that's their guy, I think, he's going to get enough kicks this spring, and we'll be able to see, then with Trent coming in, being the punter, and there's another Australian for us. So and if it doesn't work, I think we can get some guys that'll walk on, that'll be some kickers, and just see where we are, because that's got to be, the good thing with Emilio, he was really good for us. So that's what you're going to miss, because you need that guy to be automatic for you.
You're lucky enough to go to Australia to recruit him. I know he played college in the States. But
no, I didn't get to make that trip. We got him when we were at Texas, the punter there was Australian. So his coach, we developed a relationship. So he's called and said, hey, Coach, I got you another guy. And I said, well, send him to us because we need one, because we're losing our punter. So that's how we were able to make that connection. He was out of Santa Barbara. Missed out on that trip. I know could have what's over there. I think it's, where's he from, Jigs? Perth?
Sydney.
Sydney. Yeah.
What's the thing with Australian punters? Explain it.
I know it's amazing, because you look at so many teams in college football, most of them have an Australian punter, and it's like when we call him Aussie. When we first got Mike at Texas, like when the ball was snapped to him, he didn't know what to do with it, and he was like, you got to punt the ball. And he almost like took off running like rugby and then punted. But he just weren't, he's sitting there like, I've never taken a snap, Coach. I said, well, we're going to snap it to you, you're going to punt it. But once he got the hang of it, it was like, wow. I mean, he could boom it. And a lot of them, it's almost like they just hit it out there. And, playing rugby, I think, helps them more than anything.
Will you guys sign a 10th assistant coach? You guys hire
Yes, we're going to hire a 10th assistant. We got some candidates, and we'll probably try to get it done later here in the next couple of days or early next week.
Offense or defense?
I don't know yet where I need him at. You tell me. Offense or defense?
I'll get that enough.
You can just say you think you need him on defense or offense. No, but plus he's going to be heavily involved in the kicking game because I think this, was an issue for us, and not that the coaches didn't do a good job, but he'll be someone that's involved also.